Welcome back to Destination Pro Wrestling. In this video, Bray Wyatt teases his first major feud post WWE. This one is one that truly excites me. Also, TBS tournament. Guys, we got to talk about that. There's a lot of question marks I have. Also, AEW has made a new signing. By the way, what do you guys think of this awesome virtual background? Shout out to headroom.com. We're going to give you more details on this at another time. But as you guys can see, we got the title belts, the Ango sign, the basketball jersey, movie posters, AEW posters. This is all part of the plan to improve DPW. Guys, tons of big news in this one. Let's get started. All right, my friends, so the first story of the day, Lee Moriarty has officially signed a contract with AEW. Right now, he is 0 for 4 in all of his AEW contests, but obviously AEW has big plans for this guy. They truly put him over on commentary during the Rampage buy-in show against Bobby Fish. Ultimately, he did lose that match, but one thing I really wanted to talk about here was Lee Moriarty and how skillful this dude is. Clearly a future star in the world of wrestling. I've seen his work in MLW. I've seen some other footage of this guy on social media. He was clearly making waves. We saw him in AEW, but again, 0-4. And this is where I think things definitely have to turn around if AEW wants to get this guy over. I think they've done a really remarkable job this past year, especially during the pandemic, bringing in independent talent and then eventually signing them. They gave them a place to work during a pandemic, something that their largest competitor did not do for indie talent. And now his hard work has landed him a contract. It's become official. He is officially all elite. And quite honestly, I thought this was going to happen before Daniel Garcia, but as of right now, Daniel Garcia hasn't gotten the official announcement, so I find that to be slightly interesting. But here's the thing, guys. Lee Moriarty clearly going to be a big star. He's very talented. His entrance is sick. He comes out with the lucha mask. There's a lot that could be said about this guy. What really intrigues me here is what AEW does with him moving forward, because again, that 0-4 record is something that looks like a blemish, but perhaps AEW can do a little bit to spice things up and get this guy over. Again, commentary team was really good about this, so I don't really have too many concerns. It was very clear during the Rampage buy-in, AEW wanted to put over Lee Moriarty, and I'm excited to see what happens next in terms of the Forbidden Door, because again, he has been used on MLW and other promotions. So Lee Moriarty is all elite. I'm excited to see what happens next. And truth be told, I hope it is something big. You know, that TNT championship picture, it's a nice championship picture right now. There's a lot of talent up there. I think with this guy getting in some wins, getting in the ranking system, you know how AEW works. If they're able to accomplish this, this is somebody I can see holding the TNT championship belt in the next year. And honestly, if I'm AEW, I totally try to make that happen. All right, guys, and for the next story of the day, we got to talk a little bit about the TBS Championship Tournament. If you guys didn't know, AEW announced last night during Rampage that they will announce this bracket next week, next Friday on Rampage. They're going to announce this bracket. But from my understanding, the tournament doesn't take place until January 2022. So we are a couple months apart, and I'm kind of scratching my head with this decision. Ultimately, because AEW trying to book something so far in advance tells me that there is potential for a lot of issues, maybe injuries, maybe free agent signings, whatever it may be. But this also tells me that AEW definitely has some definitive plans for who will win this tournament. And I'm going to make the prediction now that Ruby Soho wins this belt. I think there is a lot of potential for Ruby Soho in this division. And I think, there's been a lot of talk about Jade Cargill. There's been a lot of talk about Thunder Rosa. But I think right now, as it stands, for this being the secondary title belt, I think what AEW is trying to do is get Jade and Thunder Rosa in the main women's title picture, which is totally cool. I totally understand that. I totally respect that, and I'm all about it. But this tournament is very important for AEW. They got to bring some fresh matchups. They got to do some really big things here. If you look at the AEW women's division, there are a lot of talent, but there are also a lot of people that we haven't seen on TV. This tournament will help bring them to TV. But the real question is, who is really going to get behind some of these people that haven't been seen? And that's why I bring this conversation up, because truth be told, if you're listening to fan reaction, if you're not using certain talent, you don't really know how people feel about that said talent. So for me personally, I'm excited about the TBS Championship Tournament. I think it's going to be great. I'm very curious on who they put the belt on. I think Ruby Soho is the one they need to put the belt on. But ultimately, it is AEW. If you're going off fan reactions, I think Thunder Rosa and Ruby are the two right now that make the most sense. But if you were watching AEW Rampage last night, clearly AEW is over pushing the bunny alley. So you never know. And that's what I think that's what I think is cool about this. I think there's going to be some, really, really big matchups. I think there's going to be a lot of upsets, and that's how tournaments should play out. So ultimately, it's going to be a really cool tournament. I do have myself scratching my head because I feel like they're planning so far in advance, but I'm not going to discredit them because I do think long-term storytelling, long-term planning ultimately creates a better product. It's one of the reasons why I actually enjoy AEW. So I am really excited about that. But nonetheless, Ruby Riott, Ruby Soho, that is my official prediction. All right, guys, and for the final story of the day, the one I've been waiting to talk to you guys about. Here on DPW, I have been bringing you tons and tons of updates on Bray Wyatt. Well, today we have another one. On the screen here, we have a new screenshot of Twitter. Twitter is a great way to get information. Bray Wyatt tweeted yesterday, "Don't worry, I'll feed ya baby birds. Hashtag Cult of Windham." Now, of course, everybody was trying to wonder what this means. What is he teasing? All of that good stuff. Well, there was a tweet from 2012 coming from Christopher Daniels. "Dear Daniel Tosh, the phrase 'Don't worry, baby birds, I'll feed you' was uttered on Impact Wrestling by yours truly. I owe you one." So, guys, when I see a tweet like this, and it's obviously, that's the beauty of wrestling and Twitter, it gets you thinking. But when I see something like this right here, this tweet, this tells me that AEW or Impact Wrestling is ready to put the brakes on every other potential push for Christopher Daniels. And I think they're going to put him immediately with Bray Wyatt. And that's why we actually saw Christopher Daniels become the Fallen Angel. Look, here's the thing. I love this. I think this is a great idea. The Fallen Angel was an amazing character back in the TNA Impact days. Now we know AEW has been airing vignettes for the Fallen Angel. We know the Fallen Angel has been on Impact. The major consensus is that Bray Wyatt is still, in fact, going to AEW. This tweet right here tells me that this is the feud to look out for, which ultimately excites me. Christopher Daniels, he's got to put people over. He's at that age. He's getting ready to retire soon. You're going to get a lot of great storytelling here. And this is a real test for AEW in terms of how they bring in, Bray Wyatt. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.